So the problem gives us four values to start off with. The RTT delay is 20 milliseconds. The server transmission delay for the objects is 0.75 milliseconds. The number of requests that are being made is 40, and the proportion of objects that have been unchanged is 60%. So we're going to first look at the 40% of objects that have changed. So the client sends a request and waits for the response, which is going to take 20 milliseconds. And the server transmission time for the object is going to be 0.75 milliseconds. So for each of these modified objects, we just simply add those two values together. So 20 plus 0.75 is 20.75 milliseconds for the total time. For the 60% of objects, since they have not changed, the server would respond with a 304 not modified error. So this client will send a request and wait for the response, which should take 20 milliseconds, but then the server transmission time is going to be negligible, right? So for each unmodified object, the total time is just simply going to be 20 milliseconds. So we're going to be using these two values when determining the total time. So when calculating the total time, first we're going to take the 16 modified objects, which should be the 40%, so 16, and multiply that with the 20.75 that we got earlier, and that should give us 332 milliseconds. And now we take into account the unchanged objects. There's 24 unchanged objects. We multiply that by 20 milliseconds, and that should give us 480 milliseconds. And then the last thing to do would just be to add these two values together, 332 milliseconds plus 480 milliseconds, and that should give us 812 milliseconds as our final answer, and we should be done.